All right, so my son's Wilson A550 just had the laces break here. I was trying to tighten it and I pulled it a little too tight and it ripped, and now it's too small to really make a good double knot. And so it just keeps popping loose. And so I went out and I got this Rawlings Glove Lacing Kit. I'm going to try to do this for the first time. I actually did. I pulled this all the way back through when I adjusted it, and I did it by hand, and it was a pain in the butt. And so I went and finally got this kit, and now I'm excited to see how much better this makes it. So I'm going to take you through it my first time, and I'm going to go ahead and show you. It's a really simple kit. It comes with the string and the little tool, and that's all you really need. So first I'm going to go ahead and break into this. So here's the tool, and then here's the string. So it's 48 inches of the leather string. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this part out. I'm going to try to pay attention to the way that it's laced. I can kind of see the crisscrossing of the pattern here. All right, so let's see. So it goes through, over, under. All right, got it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this so you can see how short that was, right? So that's only about 6 inches or so. I'm going to go ahead and cut this with about, I'm going to give it about 2 extra inches. I don't want to have too much that I'm working with. Actually, let me go ahead and give it a little bit more than that. I'm going to give it about 3 extra inches. Hopefully I'm not having to relace this glove super often, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it there. Give me some extra room to work. And we'll see how it goes. Now, it does not give, this kit does not give you a lot of instructions, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to, to talk about this. It basically just says, find the lace that needs repair, remove the old lace, take out as little as you need to, push the lacing tool through the hole, pull it back through, and then pull lace tight. And so that's it. It doesn't give you any information about the lacing pattern or anything like that. You can typically find lacing pattern information online. You can find it with the glove manufacturer itself. So like in this case, you could go to Wilson and find the lacing pattern. But in terms of how this actually works, it's pretty straightforward. It tells you to actually pull the tool through, push the tool through first, and then you put the lace in. There's really only one way that this works. It's not overly complicated. There's not very many different ways you can do it. So you push it through. It only fits in one direction, and then you're supposed to be able to just pull it right back. And so I'm going to see if this works. If it doesn't, I will adjust and go from there. So I'm going to try to pull it through. You can see it's a pretty tight fit here. So I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to get a little bit of that out of the, there we go. All right, so pull it back down. All right, there we go. So I was able to pull it through. It wasn't easy. And so one tip right away that I can tell you, if you push this through and you leave a bunch of excess, right? Like if you pull it all the way through here like this, it's much harder to pull through. So you're going to want to get kind of near the edge and do it that way. But again, remember the only trick to this is you push this through first in the reverse direction and then pull it through from there. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to go ahead and just lace this up the way that I remember it being. All right, so my son's only 7, so I've got this on the lowest, I should say the tightest fit. And so here, now my next thing is I need to go through this hole. And so this is just a singular one, so it should be a lot easier than the other one was. So I'm gonna pull it through here. Again, I got too much of the leather hanging through. Makes it tougher than it needs to be. Man, it's definitely not, it is not an easy process, that is for sure. It is you're gonna work at it depending on, the how worn in or old or whatever your glove is, depending on how big the laces are. You're gonna have to pull and pull a little bit. So, all right, now let me pull this one back through. I will say, having done this by hand once, even though this is not easy, doing it without a tool is virtually impossible. You will absolutely be more frustrated, and you'll lose it, and you'll think you're just never going to get it back together. It's possible to get it done, but it is not easy. That is for sure. So even though this also doesn't look like it's a very easy process, I can tell you it is a whole lot easier than the alternative, which is not using a tool and trying to use your hands. So, all right, so here, this is where you can kind of see what this pattern does is you go over, through, under. Now I'm going to loop down and in and back up and then come out this way. So it'll be basically down this hole, back out this hole, and then back up this glove hole. So I'll do that on both sides. I'm going to actually do it on this back side, which is a little bit blocked. I'm going to do it that way first. And this is where having the tool makes everything a whole lot easier, because otherwise you're trying to kind of do it blind, and that is not an easy thing. And so here, once I get the tool set up, I don't even have to see what I'm doing. I can just grab it and pull. The tool itself is like just a little bit more narrow than the leather is, and so you've got to kind of like push the leather in pretty tight to get it to go in, which I guess is what helps hold it in place when you are pulling so hard and helps prevent it from coming out. So let me go ahead and get that through. I'll get it in just a little bit. All right, now here we go. Now I'm just going to pull this, and hopefully it'll just go right on through without me messing anything up. All right, so there you go. So that time it actually did slip, and so this is what I'm talking about. You can imagine trying to push this through and get this leather to show up on that side is virtually impossible without a tool like this. So let me pull it back out, try again. Delicate little process. All right, there we go. So I got it, just barely, but I got it. All you need is just a little piece of it to come through, and then you're in good spot. All right, so I got that one through. I'm going to go ahead and push that up in. You can do this part. You can do this part by hand. Now that it's through there, the next step is going to be just coming directly up through. You could kind of use the tool to push it and guide it if you needed to, but I think I can just grip it with my fingernails here. Well, I say that, maybe I can't. There we go. All right, so that's one side done. Now all I got to do is take this side down and through, back up, and then tie it, and that's it. So again, just pull just enough. It's going to be about that much. There we go. All right, so that's down and through. Now, see it here, down and through. So now I push this back up and in, and that'll be it. And all that's left to do at that point is to pull the slack out, tie it, and then trim off any excess. All right, so let's see. Let's grab, pull that one tight, pull that one tight. I don't want to do it too tight because, again, last time I broke it. I want to make sure that it fits his hand good, and so you got to get the slack out for sure. But you don't want to pull it so tight that you risk, ripping the leather or tearing the holes or anything like that. So I'm going to leave this string this time. I'm not going to cut it just in case I need to make another adjustment. But I can go ahead and get it tied up here, do the double knot. I said I was going to leave it, but I'm going to leave that side and trim this one off a little bit. So there you go. So as simple as that, right? It looks as good as new. You can adjust it. You saw that the glove here had up to 4 different sets of holes that you could use. I got it on the smallest setting because he's little. He's 7 years old. But yeah, that's as good as new. It seems to be a little bit thicker of a leather than first came on the glove itself, a little thicker than these strings. And so this kit, it takes a little bit of elbow grease to kind of pull some stuff through. I think the key is it's leather, right? So it's a tough material. Don't be scared to kind of go after it, push and pull hard. It doesn't give you a lot of instructions, so hopefully this video is helpful. But once you've done it a few times, you'll learn some little tricks. One of the things I learned is when you put it through, if you sort of angle it towards the hole like this, if you're going to pull it this way, if you sort of angle it towards the hole instead of back away from it, that kind of helps to get it started, and that seems to help. So overall, this kit did exactly what I hoped it would. I've got, probably a good 3.5 feet or so of string left that I can still use. And so Hopefully I don't have to do this very often, but I know that if I do, this kit is here for me, and I know how to use it now. So fan of this, it did its job, and that's all I needed it to do.